When I started collecting comic books, I cannot tell you with 100% assurance what like what books grabbed me the most. Now, I was young, but not extremely young. I was around 12 or 13, which is later than some people. A lot of people start collecting comic books when they're 8 or 9. I did not start that early. I caught on late. I've told the story before, so I won't get into that again. It was more, I don't want to say adult themes, but the comic books I was interested in definitely weren't geared toward young adults, if that makes sense. I would say anyone from about 12, 11, 10, 9, like those ages and below. It was more 15, 16, 17, 18, just because I like action, explosion, superheroes going at villains. I like seeing all of that. I like all of the craziest action you could possibly see. That's what got me into comic books. But as an adult and as a father, if I wanted to introduce my children to comic books at a really early age, I would have to do a lot of sifting. There would have to be specific books that I go to. And there are books out there for that. The things I'm going to say now, it's not to say that you don't have those things within the comic book space, because they do exist. To what degree they exist and how much attention companies give to that it's another thing. But with that said, it appears to me, and I think Eric July has said this before, the Rippaverse is trying to create comic books in a way that there is something for everyone. Now, when I say something for everyone, I'm not talking about representation. That's not what I mean. I mean different genres within the big comic book tent. Some action, some horror, some space sagas and sci-fi, some classic superhero tales. You're really getting a lot of that street level heroes, detective work. I'm like, yo, this is actually pretty interesting. This right here caught my attention. I did not think I would be interested in this at all. I really didn't. And then I saw that this was written by the Soska sisters, Jen and Sylvia. Did you guys come up with this? Like, was this something you pitched to Eric? If so, bravo. I think this was a really good idea, because I know I've had people in my comments. This is how I know this is a big deal for some people. They have children. They want to introduce their children to comic books. And of course, obviously, if you go on comic book YouTube, there are the people who just talk about comic books and their enjoyment. And there's a lot of the, let's say, the angrier content. And I watch some of that stuff. It's entertaining, but I understand that when you have children, you're looking for something slightly more tamed. You're looking for something you can watch and you can read with your children. And I think the Soska sisters aim to bring that to your doorstep. It's called the Detention Crew Part One. The Soska sisters bring their exciting storytelling and sense of adventure to the Rippaverse with a 56 page The Detention Crew Part One, a thrilling, heartfelt story about teamwork, courage, and second chances. All themes that if you have children, this is kind of something that you would like them to think about, things that you would like them to embody. When a group of troubled teens at Wayne Carberry High suddenly develop dangerous, unpredictable powers, the school turns to an unlikely mentor, Jonathan Emmanuel Tucker, the man once known as the Death Defier. I like that name. It's a fun name. There was a time where comic books was fun, didn't take themselves too serious while also being serious. And I think names like the Death Defier, it's like, oh, that's interesting. This is something that I kind of like. It makes me chuckle, but I'm interested to see where that goes. Now a reformed supervillain, Tucker must teach these gifted misfits to master their abilities before they destroy themselves or anyone else. But when an ancient nightmare awakens and new enemies rise from the shadows, this class will learn that detention is just the beginning. Bonds will be tested, loyalties questioned, and every lesson will come with a price. I like it. Age and ratings, all ages, with sharp wit, heartfelt emotion, and the pulse of determination. The Detention Crew Part One introduces a new generation of Rippaverse heroes, each learning to rise above their past to discover their new strength. I like that. Very simple and to the point, and you get to see the different covers. I actually like, even though I'm not necessarily a huge fan of cartoon art in comic books, I just never really have been, but I like this though. I like this. I like this cover right here. If I'm going to buy one, I'm not going to lie. It's a toss-up because I love Caanan White. This cover A, Caanan White always does such an incredible job on these covers. It's hard to pass up on one of his covers. And then this one is done by, I think that's Geanes Holland. I hope I'm saying that name right. And for all of them, colors done by Marcos Martins. I believe that's how that's set up. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in this. Written by Jen and Sylvia Soska. Artist is Matteo Lucchetti. And look, I'm gonna assume that he's Brazilian. That's what I'm gonna assume, because Brazilians are just killing the art game right now. Brazilians and Italians. I've said that a million times already. You've already heard it. But there's also a little fun trailer they did for this. And this, like, when I saw this, I thought of the late 90s, early 2000s cartoons. I was like, man, if I saw this show up, like, you know, one of my streaming services, I think I would actually stop and watch this cartoon. I really think I would.
The J. Sully Ward.
And the voice actor, yo, good job.
They could rehabilitate the Death Defier.
The Death Defier.
Perhaps they were right. Prison gives you time to think.
It does indeed.
To reflect. Who am I? What brought me here? I was one of the most feared villains this world has ever known. But who am I now, upon my release back into the world? I never thought that God had a plan for me.
Good themes for children. Very good themes for children.
He is guiding my hand. He is speaking directly to me. I have been chosen by him.
And you know, I hate to talk all over this and pause it. One thing I realize, and I realize this having kids, if you don't have children, you don't really realize how much children are left out of the equation in the entertainment space. There are companies that, and they might be genuinely just not understanding what they're doing. I already see you in the comments. No, they know exactly what they're doing. Just bear with me. Some of these companies, they make things and they throw little things in there sometimes. And it's like, this is not terrible, but I wasn't ready to have this conversation right here with my kids. Now you've put this thing, whatever it is, into your entertainment, and now I have to have this conversation I wasn't intending on having at this point. So I think it's good that there seems to be a more concerted effort as of late to just make fun, enjoyable stuff for children without all the adult themes in it. Things that a parent can literally just sit down with their kids. Hey, let's read this thing. Yeah, that was fun. It was enjoyable. We all laughed. I remember when Diary of a Wimpy Kid first came out, the first book. Me and my kids used to always go to Barnes and Nobles. We go on Barnes and Nobles. This book, my oldest son picks it up. I think he was, oh man, he might have been 10 or 11 at the time. I have to ask him. I can't remember exactly how old he was, but we picked up that book. We read that first book together and laughed hysterically in Barnes and Nobles. And we bought the books after that. I don't know if he still has the books. I'll have to ask him if he still has those books. But that first book was hilarious. And it was something that kids could enjoy. Now, to my knowledge, from my memory, I don't think there was anything like overtly adult in Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And stuff like that is excellent.
Greater purpose. I am called home to old Chicago.
And I like the fact that it seems like this is still part of the greater Rippaverse. So they didn't like separate this out and say, all right, we're going to create this thing for all ages and it's going to be its own entity over here, separated from the universe of the Rippaverse. I'm pretty sure this is in continuity inside the Rippaverse as far as the universe goes.
Please stay in Texas. Part of the terms of my sentence. I caused enough trouble here. He wants me to find these exceptional young people and train them to use their abilities to fight. Fight what? I don't know. But they
I
will
like
be
that
ready
part.
when the time comes. God help me. This isn't gonna be easy.
Dealing with teens especially. I'm assuming they're like young teenagers. Yeah, you're going to need help, buddy. You're going to need help. Teenagers with powers. Oh, man. Yeah, that's a disaster waiting for an accident to happen. So yeah, this is interesting. When I first saw it pop up, I was like, there's something for kids. So I didn't really pay it any attention. And then when I looked at it, saw who wrote it, I was like, yo, knowing how the Soska sisters write, I bet not only is this going to be extremely entertaining, it's probably going to be so intermingled with other Rippaverse characters that it's probably going to shock a lot of readers.